Hello, hello, hello. It's that time again for another first look video, and today we'll be looking at the Hotaka, which is the carbon copy of the Adatara. So, the Hotaka does have a few difference compared to the Hotaka. A few difference between the Adatara. One of the main differences it has 32 millimeter bow and aft armor compared to the Adatara that has 25 millimeters. Another big difference is this ship has 94,600 HP, so you can get it pretty close to over 100k. Pretty close. Or it can with the flag. It's going to be very, very close. Another main difference is that this ship has the fighter flight skill, which is different than the fighter flight skill of the Oregon, the Vyazma, and the Mets. This fighter flight skill has it where you start off at full HP, and as you work your way down HP wise, you get more of the buff. And for the Autaka, its maximum threshold for its buff is 23,650 HP. And this buff is for your secondaries. So 20% max for the secondary range and 30% faster reload for the secondaries when you reach that minimum threshold of 23,650. So for you secondary lovers, you're going to have a lot of fun with this ship. Same with the Varizi that I did a previous video on. So this whole new experimental batch that they're doing are all secondaries. They're all secondary gimmicks for their fighter flights. Another big difference between this ship is the fact that it also has the burst fire with the modified shells. This one decreases the range by 44.8%, and you have 2 bursts in the volley. Also, with the secondaries, they do have 30 millimeters of HE pens, so you can build into them again to above 32, which is really nice as well. And with those modified shells, the shells are faster, as well as having better ricochet angles, as well as having a short fuse AP. So they're more likely to pin. They're more likely to, well, pin anywhere. So if you have like a more angled target, like I am right now, you're more likely to pin that than you would with your regular AP due to the improved ricochet angles. This ship, its base secondary range when you build into it is going to be 12 kilometers. So kind of like the Los Andes is going to be 12 kilometers, so very long secondary range. When you have the fighter flight maximum on this ship, it is going to be 14.5 or 14.3 kilometers for the secondary range. And so these secondaries are going to be really nasty in the right hands. This ship comes with a improved heal, like the Oregon, the Vyazma, and the Met. So it comes with that improved heal, and it has a lot of them. And it comes with a fighter as well. So it's kind of interesting, SAT, because in the last patch, all of the experimental ships came with the improved heal, and it also came with a hydro and an engine boost. So this set is coming with only the improved heal, and then what their counterpart before had. Because for the Varizi, it was it doesn't come with everything. Because for the Varizi, which is the carbon copy of the Michelangelo, it doesn't come with smoke. It comes with just hydro and its heal. This ship is coming with its heal, the special heal, and the fighter. So it's pretty interesting when you think of it that way. In that regard, for this set of experimental ships. So
To be fair, it depends on the experimental ship because you have, so Georgia came with all the Oregon came with all of the consumables Georgia does, except a little switched around.
yep.
The Michelangelo, to the Versace definitely lost smoke, but I'm wondering if that's more of a balancing thing because since she has so much HP, you probably don't want her to run at you with smoke as well.
Yeah, that's
So, but
true.
Hotaka, definitely there isn't anything for Adatara. There wasn't much difference. She didn't have much consumables to use anyway, so Hotaka transfer, it's probably just change the repair party and that's it.
Yep. So for our theoretical build, we're just building it on the Adatara, just so you guys can see what the build is most likely going to be for the Hotaka. So for the Hotaka, the build would be theoretically a main armament modification. Second slot would be damage con. Third would be secondaries. Fourth is going to be propulsion. Fifth would be concealment. And sixth would be secondaries. Since your main goal is to kind of use the secondaries and get the gimmick of the fight or flight up, your main goal is to try to buff those secondaries as much as you can. And with saying that, the build is also going to be around that as well. So you would have preventative maintenance, then IFHE, then you would go down and build the rest into the secondary ranges and accuracy, adrenaline rush, concealment, and fire prevention. And that's how it would be built for the Hotaka. So you go full on in the secondaries because of that fight or flight. The fight or flight is the main reason why you do it, because you get that extra range and you get that extra reload for the secondary. So the more you build into it, the better it's going to be in the end. And it is pretty interesting. We said this in the Varizzi video, but it is pretty interesting that this set of experimental ships that WoW's is adding start at full HP instead of the partial HP that the Oregon and the other one of that set had. So it is pretty interesting that they are doing that instead of just having it where, oh, well, these ones start at half HP and those start at half. They're probably just trying to like test and see which ones do better. But it could also be that since these are secondary, like more of a secondary build or a secondary gimmick, they probably like, oh, well, these guys need as much HP as possible, or they're going to get farmed out too early. Because secondary brawlers, if they don't have HP, they can't really secondary brawl. They're going to lose their HP too quick, and they're going to die. So, but yeah, what do you think, SAT?
For the Hotaka specifically, it's odd that they use a Japanese battlecruiser hull as the baseline. So, I mean, to be fair, they had a couple to choose, but Hotaka herself, she's not really what you would consider. Well, Adatara is not really you would consider a brawler, and using her at the basis for Hotaka, the secondaries definitely got buffed, and the bow and stern got buffed as well to become a proper battleship.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like it may, given on the initial impressions, and that her hull is designed for something else, she may not be as effective as the other ships in the line, especially when you consider the Verace is literally a tier 10, kind of like a experimental ship version of a already existing tier 9 cruiser.
Mm-hmm. You could also say that as well because the Otaka isn't up tiered from the Adatara. They're both the same tier. So you could also say that as well. With how they
You
did it.
could. I wonder how many people is also just going to use her as a standard battleship. That's another question, because it is in theory. You could actually just put a standard. You could just put the standard main gun build on her, and not use the secondaries at all. Granted, you won't get. It's not as efficient, but I can see some players just doing that out of frustration, or because they don't know any better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm looking at the burst fire reload, and oh my lord, that is a 55-second reload in between the burst fires. So if you use burst fire, that's a 55-second reload. And since the fight or flight isn't for the main gun reload at all, that's going to be extremely long reload.
The base reload is also pretty long. It is at 33 seconds, and
Yep.
that is just for 16-inch guns.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Adatara, it's 30 seconds, so it is notably slower.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Oh, and also the worst to add insult to injury, the Hotaka's base dispersion is just slightly worse than the Adatara, and the Sigma is
Damn.
also terrible. The Sigma is 1.7 versus Adatara is 2.1, but they won't tell that in the most players won't be able to tell that from the in-game client. And then of course it's kind of hard to notice that Adatara has a slightly better dispersion. So if you have an uninformed player, they think, oh, cool, second experimental ships. I must put main guns on it. They're gonna completely build her the wrong way, and well, yeah, they're gonna think it's gonna suck.
Mm-hmm. Yep, for sure, for sure. Well, if you guys have any questions or concerns about the Otaka, let us know in the comments down below. But this ship has enter testing as of patch 14.2. So, let me know what you guys think, and we'll see you guys in the next video.